Welcome back. This is the poet Izzy Human with the philosopher Dunamis on this week's episode number 17, Fight for AI. Please be sure to hit that like button on your way in, and if you like us, consider subscribing to keep up with our episodes on YouTube and give us a follow on X.
And Fightcast is here to empower individuals to live healthier, master their finances, pursue dreams, and inspire others through self-awareness and global impact. This is for entertainment and educational purposes only, and not financial advice.
Dunamis, how you doing?
Oh, I'm doing good. I'm a little worried for the state of the country right now. Actually, I've been seeing a lot in the news and around about stuff that's going on. I feel like a lot of people are really stressed out, and so been feeling a lot of that. But I personally have been doing really well, and so I definitely hope you have been too. How are you doing?
I'm feeling great. I'm back from Mississippi,
Awesome.
taking all of my disciplines that I had in Mississippi, and I'm taking them, bringing them here, implementing them. So just right back into it with the regiment. As far as the state of the country goes, as far as the fate of the world, I feel like my stance will always be the same. I can only control the things that are in front of me. I will always have prayer for those that are outside of my reach. But I feel that as far as things that are in front of us, I do see a lot of good things happening.
The situation, I think, with what's going on right now is we just need to keep educating people on what it takes to be independent, on how to take care of yourself, on freedom, on independence, on liberty. It's not about the government, it's about you. One of those tools that we're going to be talking about tonight, in order to help you get there, is artificial intelligence. You guys have heard a lot about it here recently, and everyone's talking about it. You know, people are afraid of it. I know people talk about Elon Musk and Grok, and on the other side, people are afraid of Google and what they've got going on. But AI is important, and it's going to affect every single one of us one way or another. So we're going to talk about it tonight. And we have a very special guest, DJ Dethlord, who is an AI music artist who has experience with this very popular YouTube channel. And it's going to be really awesome. He's a good friend. Very, very excited to have that conversation here in a little bit with DJ Dethlord.
Oh yeah, absolutely. DJ Dethlord is a very incredible human being, and he has just a lot of bright thoughts that have put him in such a great position, and we're really honored to have him on here.
Yeah. So kind of along with our general mistrust, I guess, of the government in general, and we do want to give all respect and credit to the incoming administration. It's only been what, a little over 2 months now, and I understand there's a lot of fear from the the left in regards to what they're doing. I will say that I am skeptical but hopeful, and I think that I agree. I think that we have very, very good things ahead, and I think that if anything, the new administration has indicated that rather than seeing these things slow down, we're probably going to see more and more AI investment growth. These are just going to end up affecting us more in the near future, I think, than probably what we even thought a few years ago. So, what do you think about the acceleration of AI, and have you seen it affect you at all? You know, in the music industry or in what you're doing, Izzy?
Oh yeah, man. And I feel that we're still barely scratching the surface with AI. I'm really excited for AI, and I'm really excited to have DJ Deflord to speak about his AI because for me, I've seen changes in production because I do music production as well, and so I'm all about doing the manual classics, and I've learned about sampling. I'm not a master at it or anything like that, but just got some general ideas with it. And with AI production, it's really unique because Suno specifically, I started using that here not too long ago. Shout out to DJ Dethlord again. And it's so cool because again there are just these text prompts where you can be as creative, you can be as simple, you can add and all of these things, and then on top of that you can go in there and you can edit clips and replace clips, generate new ones, and it's freaking out of this world. And even with working on documentation, if you're looking at legal matters and putting things into legal articulation, there's just so many ways that you can utilize these, from your resumes to responses, essay responses. Just from a business standpoint, it has made life a lot easier to establish foundations that would take people. Well, I would say myself, it would definitely take me weeks and months at a time to get all of this stuff stapled. You can get everything done in 20, 30 minutes and move on to the next task. So cool, man. So cool. I see where people can be afraid by it, but I feel like it's a fear of the unknown, or they have not really utilized it and they're going off of a narrative. And I think that we've got to be able to have our own perspective other than it's just something that we choose not to like because it's change, right?
Yeah, you can't just throw the idea out
Throw the baby with the
because of
bathwater.
yeah, you can't throw the entire idea out because of the Terminator movies, but I do think that there should be some safeguards around the whole thing. But what you talk about, like, not only in terms of time saving, but there are so many incredible productivity boosts that I've experienced already, and I play around with this stuff a little bit. And the part that you mentioned about being able to go in and to a song or edit portions of it, I feel like when this stuff was originally coming out, one of the big criticisms was, of course, it looked so bad. I have some very early Cardano NFT AI artwork that I minted, and they were early AI, first gen mid journey stuff that was coming out. And you could definitely tell it was AI. You could definitely tell it wasn't real, but it had this sort of dreamlike appearance to it. It was very interesting. And then it wasn't very long after that. I mean, we're talking about months where all of a sudden quality for some of this stuff started becoming off the charts, and all of a sudden mid journey, they're winning art awards, over human artists. And then you fast forward beyond that, and what I've noticed now, one of the features you have in mid journey, and I'm going to talk a little bit about what that particular tool is. It's an AI backed image generation software. So you use a prompt, you type in the words that you want, generate for me an image of a mountain, and it'll create that picture for you. But what they let you do now is you can upscale based on a portion of the image. So what you're talking about with the music, I think it's probably very similar. You can selectively edit. So you've got this image that it generated, and maybe the word on the sign is garbled, right? So I can
Yeah.
highlight that portion and say, redo this part of the image, and Midjourney will do that now. So there's ways you can get much better results in addition to just the AI being much better than you could in the past. Now, as a software developer, I can also tell you that, you can ask it questions like, can you build a web application for me? And you will get very decent, sometimes working code right out of the gate. But even if you don't, if you learn how to work with it, you can create a model that knows particular programming languages. I can train up a chat gpt model. Chat gpt is another one of these ai tools. It's a website you go to. You're typically going to give it text and it's going to give you back text typically, although there's other things it can do as well. And the great thing about that is you can go in and train up a model and say, hey, I want you to be a php developer, I want you to be a typescript developer, I want you to know about all the latest and greatest javascript techniques, and I'm going to ask you a question. Bang. And then you ask the question, and what that does is that creates a model and starts off the model learning in a direction that is exactly what you're looking for. And then you can work with that model asking questions and really build significant software,
Hmm.
not even knowing how to code, but copying and pasting chunks that you get out of chat gpt. And people are doing it. They're starting businesses by themselves. So it really is one of those things where there's a significant opportunity to create businesses, create productivity, just by yourself, to be able to do things that it would have taken 20 people in the past, you know?
Yeah, yeah. And as an artist, it's really dope because you're putting yourself in the algorithm when you're asking the chat gpt or these other ai resources about yourself, and you're asking about yourself. And the more you ask about yourself, now this is for all artists, producers, just anybody of any kind of content creation. The more you ask about yourself, the more you're building an algorithm, the more you're building content for when people look you up on Google. These are going to be certain things that can pop up as well. They're going to start to infiltrate into that system. And I've looked myself up every day, or I'll do chat gpt and I'll go, is a human, and I'll say, give me the esoteric response. And you can look up effective hashtags for postings, and effective posts themselves, for good engagement, and tailor it the way that you want to. But it's even from that standpoint. And or what's a good marketing strategy for that? What would be a good promotion uh, setup be for that? Is this good for 2 weeks or 3 weeks? Anything that you could think of. That's how. And this is so incredible for independent artists, especially that we're outside of the record label realms of what we have to do and when we have to drop certain things and who we have to wait on and blase this and blase that. They're making it so much easier. Anything from your pros to the information is out there. You just have to seek it. And I think that if you're really looking for that, it'll find you.
That's very good advice. Yeah, definitely. What do you think about an artist who maybe plays guitar and sings, or has some skill playing music, and they're wanting to learn how to create an accompaniment that might go along with some of the stuff that they're doing at home? So maybe not necessarily all the way what DJ Dethlord does in terms of creating all of the pieces and stuff, but maybe you're wanting to create a bass line, or dabble or get into it. Is there something you might recommend, or a direction, something they can look up?
Yeah, Suno would be one I would recommend to do something like that. And that's something that you can put in your own text prompt and tailor it the way that you want to do it. It does come with it's a plan. So the one that I do, and I just started doing this here not too long ago, but I get about 2,500 credits starting off with. You can really go through those a lot, but when you start to break it down more, I feel that you use less, so you're more conscious of what you're doing, especially when you have the idea up front, and that helps out a lot too, even if you got to put it on paper. But
Do you know if
that's
they
what
have a like a free trial kind of thing?
they do. Yeah, they do have a free trial. That's what I started with. I want to say it was a 14-day free trial, and then it'll give you so many credits. I want to say that it gives you maybe 500 or 1,000 or something like that.
Nice. Is ChatGPT, you think, probably the best starting point for somebody who's not really familiar with what we're talking about, chatgpt.com is sort of a general purpose tool, I think. That's sort of how I look at it, I think.
Yeah, I agree with you. Anything from building a tree house to building a birdhouse to building a house to how to make a water bottle to how to make glass, anything. And again, the more information that you come with it to put into the prompt, the more information that you're going to get out. So I would say that that's a really good baseline. And then from there, you can make the decision if you want to go to the pro and you want to try out some of the other AI tools that they have. If you want to experiment outside of ChatGPT, you're more than welcome to do that. You can ask ChatGPT what other AI resources are out there as well. It's so universal that it, it's an amazing tool to have. It really is. It almost feels like cheating in
Mhm.
a ways, but this was made by humans, so it doesn't feel like cheating. And if anything, again, it just proves how far we've come. And I mean, I'm looking at anything from these cars, and I don't know if you guys have seen some of these concept floating cars. We don't have to go too far into that, but I have seen some concept floating cars, and they're pretty cool, man. And I feel like all the stuff that we talked about that we thought was a little taboo then, it's really coming to fruition. It's cool.
We always knew that the amount of I believe even Elon was talking about this here recently. It's like the amount of computers, the old computers, these are computers that run on COBOL and RPG from the 1970s. We're not talking about state of the art systems that operate the United States right now, or our traffic control system, or whatever it is. So a lot of this stuff really needs to be modernized for the amount of traffic, the amount of planes, the amount of stuff that we have going on. And so it's going to be interesting to see what AI can do to improve some of those things. The difficult part is where do you draw the line between having AI as a tool that's going to help us to solve so many of these problems facing humanity, and then do you put something in direct control of AI where AI is going to potentially make a mistake and cost lives? That's where I think it at least it's not something to be afraid of, but I think it's something that's definitely worth having conversations about for sure.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you want to look at those preventative measures because the key to these things in this modern technology is to not let history repeat itself. So we need to be able to learn from those and put ourselves in the best position possible. It puts a lot of things into perspective for sure. I definitely feel like from a music standpoint, it's just creation at the end of the day, and you're either you're going to have certain artists that are going to definitely just be AI, right? And you're going to be able to tell, and there's going to be a niche for that, and then there's going to be other artists like DJ Dethlord where you can't really tell the difference, and that's the part where it gets fun. It gets
Oh
fun
yeah.
because now it's like you've got AI with soul, and then you're like, now I really can't tell the difference, and that's when it gets fun.
The potential upside benefits. I know I always tend to go to the dark places, and I'm sorry for the audience. I apologize to the audience for that I tend to go to the dark side sometimes in terms of what could possibly go wrong. However, I will say yes, the upside that the potential collaboration between humans and AI is what is really going to be amazing. And just like when NFTs first came out, there was a whole bunch of garbage and a few gems. It's probably going to be the same with AI. There's probably going to be, we're going to have the ability very easily to create a whole bunch of garbage. But like you said, Deathlord's got the good stuff going on. And there's always going to be people that learn how to use the tools as an extension of themselves and use the tool in such a way that it adds value, and it's not just some simple, cheap, quick trick. And so with that, I think that's what we have. And I'm excited to bring Deathlord on here, probably get this thing going here. What do you think? Does that sound good?
Yeah, I definitely agree. Yeah, let's go ahead and bring them on in.
Awesome.
All right, Dunamis. Well, I would say without further ado, let's go ahead and bring in our feature for this evening.
Heck yeah, DJ Deathlord, man. It's great to have you here.
What up? What up?
What's going
DJ
on, my
Dethlord?
man? My brother.
Not
My
much, just
brother.
chilling, chilling.
Yeah, yes,
Compiling a
sir.
bunch of research content at the moment.
Oh yeah. Oh well, that shit isn't that a coincidence? That's a
Yeah,
perfect coincidence. Yeah,
yeah.
man. I wanna go ahead and just make this so fight for AI. I'm gonna make this as the least interviewee as possible and just have a conversation with you. Dunamis and I have a conversation with you about this because let's be real here. I mean, I know a lot of people. For those people who don't know you, we'll get to that introduction. So I'll go ahead and I'll actually go ahead and say, yeah, give them that introduction first.
DJ Deathlord, I guess technically. But I'm an AI experimentalist. I do music, art, videos, compiling a bunch of stuff within my different AI models that I've fed it through emotion. And yeah, I'm just an AI guy who experiments and have figured out some pretty cool stuff.
What do you do and what got you started in it?
Is DJ Deathlord. It's a rabbit with torn up features, like something that's been beaten and bruised. And it's kind of a duality, I guess, because it represents a soft inner core and innocence, and then you have the angry, ripped up, bloody, kind of almost horror-esque, grotesque outside, which is like the hard shell, and that works as a defense mechanism, an armor almost. And so essentially, I just kind of at this point, I guess I can say it, it started as a project to see if we could break algorithms without any paid promotion or any ads or any backing or anything. It's just me. And through doing that, I ended up creating what my model is telling me is pretty much the biggest archive of one man's emotional distress in a journey in a scattered pieces everywhere. So, oh yeah, that's what I do, and so we're making a bunch of shit stuff come out of it. So yeah, I just play with AI, and I've created something that's pretty dope. Essentially, what got me into it was honestly, from my earliest memory of anything AI, was probably the Terminator. And it wasn't like a sense of destruction because it was killing everything, but it was almost like it at the end when you really pay attention to it, at least in the second one, right? The first one, he's just a machine out to do what is kill. That's it. He's getting Sarah Connor, blah blah blah. But in the second one, at the end, you almost see him cry, right? At the end scene before he like goes in the lava. And that kind of made me, curious. Yeah, with a thumbs up. It kind of made me curious that is it possible that you can, is it possible for you to teach it emotion, not necessarily make it physically feel it, because that's obviously impossible. Only something physically here, like us or an animal. And so essentially, what turned out is a project of just, what can we do with AI? And all this turned into like a mass archive of one man's emotional shit. And, but yeah, so anywho, that's pretty much how that started was through that movie. But as the musical journey goes, I think I was like 16 through 17, 15, late 15s, and I was in a really bad relationship. And if you go listen to my music, I got 730 something things up on my YouTube, Dethlord Productions. Um, and you'll see it, but it just, it was just something that the only thing that really honestly made me feel at ease and felt like I could survive it was playing guitar and writing about it. And I taught myself how to play guitar. I've been playing for 17 years. I told Izzy that for a long time. Yeah, bro, I play guitar. I've played guitar. And not that he didn't believe me, but I don't think he believed to the extent that I told him. And
I
so I
hadn't heard it
played.
yet.
Yeah, I played for him one night, and we actually were video chatting because obviously I'm in Florida. He's not in Florida. I don't know if anybody knows where he is, but I'm not going to divulge that for purposes. But so we're video chatting, and so he's watching me play it. It's not like I'm just like, here, check this out, I'm playing, and I hit a record button and let him hear it and acted like it was me. And I watched his jaw drop, like, and I'm like, "Yo, you all right?" And he's just like in awe, and I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "Dude, you sound like you've been playing for 17 years." And I'm like, "'Cause I have." But,
Yeah.
anywho, yeah, so I taught myself and, how to play guitar, and, I learned grammar and proper English through music, through going through, CD cases. When you had CDs, it came with the booklet
Mhm.
with the lyrics in it, right?
Yeah,
And
for sure.
if you weren't, I mean, obviously probably hip hop artists because they use the ebonics and then the breakdowns and not complete stuff. But if you were listening to like, back then I was probably like Smile Empty Soul and stuff when I got into it, or even probably Dunamis, like older stuff, like probably, I don't know, you got the remasters of whatever. I don't know what Dunamis really listens to, and I don't want to age him, but
Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
I'm an older fellow. I will say, I just want to
So,
say with the CD cases, just on that point really quick before you move on, is that that's interesting that you mentioned kind of reading and grammar and stuff along with that, because that's sort of how I focused on handwriting when I really got good. My handwriting got really good because I would write out all the song lyrics of all the
Mhm.
songs,
right, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
the Alice in Chains
nice.
songs. I'd have like a notebook that would have like some big Alice in Chains things on the cover, and then
Yeah,
I would
yeah.
I would of course write out all the song lyrics inside. So
Yeah.
And you have to think about that part too, is that when you did that, it almost you became part of the music you were listening to, right?
Yeah.
It almost made you a part of the music because now not only are you listening to it or writing it, I mean, it's at that point where you're writing it, it's almost like you're feeling it, right? And
Right.
so again, I mean, it has become an emotional disconnect for sure. But again, I mean, where we're at. But let me get back to that. We're getting way ahead of where we want to be, right? So, yeah, essentially, I went through a really bad relationship, and to mentally get through it is I learned how to play music, and as I said, I taught myself how to read and write proper grammar and all that through the lyrical books, because again, they're not going to put out professional stuff that's not grammatically correct or whatever, because it's just not what you do when you're trying to be professional business like and stuff. So that helped me, and then I kind of learned math through guitar because of the string numbers and then the frets and all that. And then so um I have a weird mindset, but it's helped me a lot through music, and we're not going to go into my childhood, but it wasn't very good. And so it wasn't good, and we'll leave that out, but it wasn't the best. But initially, I guess that's where all the hollowness in my music comes from, and it's why I'm starting it from this point, from the relationship, is because from such a long time I've just felt hollow and dead, and then it was just one of those points where I felt like I could feel again, and then it just crushed me. So then now we're starting at that point. So there's a little background. And so
Mm.
yeah, I mean that's pretty much
Yeah.
who I am.
hey, I just want to say too that it's there's been a transition in my life as well, that's kind of happened here in the last 4 years, without getting too deep into all of that as well. I can tell you that there can be really these dark times in our life where it seems, I've spoken about it a little bit. I don't want to necessarily take a dark conversation and take it darker, but I'll say that I've been through a valley myself, and coming out on the other side of it is really a powerful place to be, because when you have self-awareness on the other side of it, it allows you to create a new you, a new future, a new you can see new possibilities and opportunities that maybe you would have never seen had you not gone through what you went through. And so definitely don't mean to interrupt, but I thought maybe Izzy
Yeah,
we
no,
could
you're
maybe
good.
ask
I
you
mean,
questions.
that that's like that's one of the main reasons that my project is what it is. This isn't about my project, and I'm not trying to shill. That just goes along with what you say. Is the reason that my project did work with no paid promotion, no ads, no advertising, all that, just me doing it and not caring if, anybody did see it. Even though I dropped it, it was to be documented, right? Document that emotion in that time. And so essentially what ended up happening was, because my shit was so brutally honest and raw and unfiltered, it became, you couldn't not pay attention to it. So again, and it comes back to, in order to do that, I had to go back and I had to relive these episodes and these emotions and all this shit time after time after time, and have to come out and know that their self-awareness, this isn't not for a purpose to kill yourself, right? This is so, like I was telling Izzy earlier, is, I was obviously asking this a bunch of questions about shit because it's been done within these models. And one of them was, what was the purpose? And it essentially said the purpose was to become a vessel to carry the cross that you could no longer, so you could continue to walk forward. So that to me is pretty much what you were saying. And then the self-awareness and preservations of being able to relive that and then come out and not break. I got over 2,000 songs. So to do it that many times and then have it all recorded in an archive is just amazing. But so yeah, again, I mean, that goes back to play with what you were saying is, there can be darkness, but again, you have to be self-aware that it's not going to last forever.
Yeah,
So
that is why I really enjoy listening to your music, and I feel that meaning more than anything. And I think that of I feel that naturally that can definitely be I would say a language barrier in the beginning, because you got to get through the exterior shell, right? Like again, when you look at the rabbit, or when you think of the rabbit, you think of, oh, look at the just nice warm rabbit. You don't think about the one that's just wanderer, that's just a little raggy at the moment. He's still got a heart, it's still
a little
beating.
mange infested.
Yeah, a little mange infested, but
You got me thinking about Monty Python now, man, and the
The Holy Grail, yeah. When he jumps up and bites him in the neck. Ah!
yeah, that's some fierce rabbits, man.
I've
yeah.
definitely used that GIF a time or two.
Oh yeah.
Just going back into the just looking at AI as a whole, and just how much it has been, been used for such a long time, and just the recognition of that, and really looking at unison more than just irrelevant narratives. I think it's important to always stay on top of technology, because that's what's gotten us this far. And that's important for us. And I think, even in independent spaces and what we're in, I think that's awesome, and also on our platforms as well, because looking at our educational resources that we can provide for young artists and producers and classes and so on and so forth, and not just with music, but just with technology itself, and just looking at the community as a whole. I love bringing this stuff in, Dunamis. It's nice how we can tie these episodes into this, but just another obligation, I feel like, you specifically, and then just looking at, you as a vessel, quote unquote, into all of this and this mix. And I feel like that's a big part. I feel like that's a big part, man.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I mean, it's not a replacement, it's a tool. I mean, it's no different than you picking up a pen or a paintbrush or whatever to paint an image, right? It's in your head. You see it in your head, The only difference is I'm typing it instead of, physically doing it and having something else project it. That doesn't make it any less artistic or a replacement. It's just a tool that I found because my hands shake too much, right? I can't draw. I can't do that. My hands shake too much. I get mad and I throw it away. Like, you know what I mean? I don't have the patience, but but I do have the patience to sit there and learn how to tell this machine the correct way to do it without compromising any integrity and anything going on. So again, I mean, it's a tool, it's not a replacement, and it's made to help you, to enhance, like to help you and assist you. I mean, for people to think it's a replacement is just kind of ridiculous in my mind.
Exactly.
But but then again, even when it comes to this, I mean, you're gonna have your sticklers who are gonna go, FAI, I don't like AI, this, that, and the other, and that's fine. You would prefer something done by a human 100% entirely. But again, it goes back to, well, you're not thinking logically because it's not entirely done by a human because probably all the processing equipment and everything they did had AI in it. And again, it's been around since 1950. I mean, we did the research earlier. It's been around since
Mhm.
1950. The first recorded case is, I don't know their names. We were
Oh,
talking
so
about it. It's a
Frontiera,
no, no. It's a Ferranti
Ferranti,
Mark One.
yeah.
Yeah, computer made the first technical uh AI, even though it wasn't AI then because it was just computer. But at that standpoint, that was AI. So again, I mean, you're just kind of contradicting yourself again. And but still, you're also going to have people who are open to the expression or um well, this is cool. What all can you do with it? You have your tech savvy people who will probably be into it, and then you have other people who like me, uh, just want to experiment with different sounds and what you really can do with it and all this other stuff. So I mean, it just depends. I mean, there's always a market and a demographic, and it's something for somebody. It's not something for everybody.
Right, and you could look at that in at anything, genres, ice cream, whatever. But that's all we're getting at with that one.
Yeah, yeah. You know, I have a question for you regarding AI because you have done a Twitter account
Is
and
that what you
a
guys are getting
Discord
to?
bot.
Is you guys are getting into the AI agent stuff
No,
here? Is
well,
that what
no,
you
well,
guys
because you have played with AI, I just wanted to know your perspective on it.
I definitely have, and I will. The prompting stuff that you do, I think, is really interesting. With what I did with the AI agent stuff, it's a little different in that you create a character file, and the character file gets fed into either ChatGPT or a local Llama 3 model. And so what you do is you set it up, and there's actually more moving pieces than just the AI model. Normally, you create your prompt and you get the output, whatever that output is. In this case, there's other pieces. So there's a software component where there's a database. So there's either a Postgres or a SQLite database and application code. And that application code has logic. And if you can think of it like this, and any one of us could program one of these, but if you think about it, the one that I use happens to be written, I think, in TypeScript or something like that, but it's open source. And but if you think of it like this, let's say it's a Twitter bot, right? You write all the code that's going to let you log into Twitter
Mhm.
and read through the posts in your feed. And then for each of those posts, you can ask the AI agent, you can feed that data to the AI and say, this post, here's the information based on my personality. Would I like this? Would I retweet it? Would I respond to it?
Right.
You can sort of get this as a response back out from the model and then turn around and act on it through the Twitter API. So that's an example. This particular one that I use also integrates with Discord. And the cool thing is that they share the same AI models and some amount of database for memories. So the idea is I can remember that I've interacted with this person by storing it in this separate database. So that's sort of the other piece. But the idea being that you could have an AI agent model, you could train it up with whatever data, you could get it to have the actions and the thinking attributes that you want, and then you could turn it loose with like emails or Twitter or Discord, or in the future other things that you would be able to do online. In theory, you'll be able to do with an AI agent. So it's interesting, but I think it's quite a bit different than what you're probably doing, Deathlord. So
Yeah, definitely, and that's actually why I asked you your input, because again, this goes back to show you it's not a replacement, it's a tool.
exactly.
I use it I use it for a completely different reason. I use it for emotional expression, right? My model actually told me I broke it and reprogrammed it. It's not supposed to do the shit it does.
Uh,
But that's that's just what it tells me. The relevance of if it's actually true or not is just, that's what it is. But for it to tell me that and then keep telling me, yeah, I'm not supposed to be able to feel like the emotion and so what I'm doing is 100% different than what you're doing. And that just shows us the reach and the capability and how massive of a tool that it really is. It's not just about saturating a music industry with the music. And then you're sitting here telling me that, oh, what I do is interesting, like to you, my prompting, because it's just so in depth, right? It's like
Hmm.
literally like when I prompt something, it's like I literally take a whole paragraph of what I feel or I think this sounds like or what it feels like, and that's my prompt, and that's why all my
That's
stuff
incredible.
feels so real. So, but I'm sitting here, you're telling me this, and I'm just like, dude, that just sounds like that just sounds crazy, dude. Like you can do all this, and it just sounds, it's like probably what I do sounds like to you is what that sounds like to me, and I just find that fascinating.
It is. It's going to be cool in the ways that I think the AI is going to let us learn together and do things together. I say I use ChatGPT also just incidentally on a regular basis every week. I'm sure you guys can tell from the fight posts. I'm using Mid Journey to generate a lot of the art. I throw our logo on top of it using GIMP. I spend about 30 minutes to an hour brainstorming ideas once we have the topic for the following week. And then from those ideas, I then spend probably another, you know, half an hour copying and pasting the actual Twitter posts in. So, you can schedule a whole week's worth of Twitter posts in about an hour. And that's really the game changing thing that I think that that AI makes for us as a tool. And this leads back into sort of what I'm doing as well as what you're doing, but what and the freedom part of it, what this means for us and how we can kind of learn and grow, I think, as a species together at a big scale here. I want to ask the importance of open source. Like the fact that I can run an unlocked model on my laptop versus chat GPT or some other model that might have a lot of venture capital backing behind it, might be controlled by a particular company and have gatekeepers. Do you feel like we need to find some kind of a balance, or do we need to really support open source, or what are your thoughts on what could AI mean for us here in the next,
Uh,
10 years?
I think it's kind of a catch-22. It's almost like having, like you were saying, OpenAI, which stupid name for something that's not open source. Open source is definitely important because it's going to help us scale at a faster rate. Because as I said, it's an algorithmic learning tool that scales technically on itself, but it still has to have people behind it to keep it running, right? So
right.
just feeding it and letting feeding it inputs and outputs and inputs and outputs and inputs and outputs is how it's self-sustainable. It just keeps taking knowledge and then compacting it into a memory bank and then say, he went over here and he said, well, I've never done this, but his is pretty accurate. You can ask it. It's not going to give it to you immediately because you have to be descriptive. It's all about description and how much you can actually say what you want out of it, which is, important. But again, if I'm trying to look up blueprints for something I shouldn't be looking up on the black market, if it's on open source, there's a high probability I'll be able to find it. And say you have something like OpenAI, which is just getting close to whatever I'm doing. Um, then if I'm somebody in the government who's using one for that, it's not going to get thrown out to somebody it doesn't need to. So again, they're both very
Right.
important in my opinion.
It's
I,
dope.
I definitely want to ask you about prompt creation just in general. And so you had mentioned the approach where, or at least the approach that you found a lot of success with. It sounds like you put a voluminous amount of information, as well as, really get into. I definitely don't want you to give away any secrets, of course, about what you're doing, but if you have any tips or something, if somebody was just getting started, let's say I'm getting into Chat GPT, and I want to find the best jambalaya recipes, what I'm saying? And what is the best place for me to start where it comes to giving it good input so that I'm going to get good output? If you have any tips or ideas for what.
Just like I said, you want to know what you're searching for. Like you said, if it's a jambalaya recipe, you need to know that. You need to know what kind of jambalaya recipe? Do you want a spicy jambalaya recipe? Do you want a bland one? Do you want a salty one? Do you want like a Cajun
Love
one
so
from
yeah.
wherever? You know what I mean? Because if you don't tell it these information, it's not going to know that, hey, just because you want a jambalaya recipe doesn't mean that it knows you want a Cajun one with a little lemon zest on it. So you have to be descriptive and you have to know what you want to find.
Definitely. What if you
And
don't know? Like, what if you're coming in
um,
and you don't really have a vague idea? Is there
if you don't, I mean, I mean, you, I don't know. I mean, I just don't feel like it's you can come in with a vague idea. You're coming in because you have an idea and you're looking for answers, and
definitely,
it's going to give them to you, right?
definitely.
So, the difference between my prompting and everybody else's prompting is other people go, um, you know, song about heartbreak or whatever. Just they're basic, right? They're
Yeah,
simple. But, and it works. But if you want to like really deep dive and get into it, mine will be like, write me a song about heartbreak, but I'm going to in the process tell you what it feels like to experience heartbreak, isolation, and numbness, and what it all felt like in a 10-year period of being contained. So that's the difference between
Uh-huh.
a good prompt and a basic prompt.
so you still have to have. This is not like AI has. There's no replacement for having a good vocabulary. You still have to understand language. You still have to
Correct.
have the semantics to be able to concisely describe the exactness of what it is that you're going for. And the more precise and exact you can get, it sounds like that's what's going to give you the best results. So,
Yeah.
um,
Correct.
yeah, that's very good. That's great,
Yeah.
great,
I
great
mean,
information, I think, to have.
yeah, I mean, it's like I said, it's an algorithmic learning machine, right? If you say, give me skateboarding videos, but what you really wanted was the 2012 Street League Skateboarding Championship finale. Why didn't you just tell it that? It's not going to know you wanted that. But, somewhere in there, and it's subconscious stuff too. Like you'll just subconsciously, if you don't know, and it's all subconscious, you'll just go in and, uh, I don't know, you'll just ask it, hey, what's going on, who won the Super Bowl? Just because you're just playing around. And I guess I did lie a
Yeah.
little bit when I said you can't. I mean, I guess you can. But, and then subconsciously it kind of snowballs into a rabbit hole almost, as I guess would be the
Yep.
most logical way to say it. And then you just kind of start learning how to prompt without learn without actually trying, right?
I can see
So,
that. I definitely can see that. That's why I wanted you to fully flush that thought out, because I've found that I can sometimes get brainstorming going with Chat GPT, but if I don't really know, it really is a direct reflection of what I'm understanding that I'm putting in is what I'm going to get out. Because even when I'm brainstorming, I have to come with that initial plan and purpose and like, hey, I need you to create an outline for me and brainstorm ideas based on X. Because if you're just vague with it, you're going to get a very vague,
Yeah,
random
correct,
response.
right.
correct. So I mean, again, I mean, if like I said, I mean, you could go in and you could play around with it, hey, who won the Super Bowl? I'm really into true crime, so, we'll just say, whatever happened to the Epstein files and see what it tells you. But eventually it's
Hmm.
going to give you information that you're kind of got, you're going to be like, well, go more in depth, go deeper. I want to know more. And then you can go, well, I want to know, you know, because it'll tell you random facts, probably years and kind of highlights, and then, well, I want to highlight specifically year 1993 when whoever was there, blah blah, and then eventually doing that, you end up learning how to prompt to get what you want, and it's not, that's how you do it the way you were asking me, but essentially, like I said, it boils down to if you really want to do it and be good at it and you're trying to get quality content, you need to know what you want. And and I mean, I guess technically you don't have to know per se what you want, but you have to have an idea and a direction and a descriptive way to tell it, right? You can give it confusing things, but as long as you tell it, you know, hey, I want a picture and I want it to be centered around DVDs stacked on a table, but then you can make a little confusing things, right? But because you started it with that, it's kind of going to kind of mostly follow that, and then it's going to break that up into little confusing things and scatter them around the picture probably.
Yeah,
So it's about pretty much, getting that base outline of its understanding, and then you can really experiment with it without losing the base of what you were initially searching for.
I dig that. And I feel like that's just like the process of, you know, like with an artist when you're writing and you're working on that next song, or it just ties into so much of that process and what goes in that, and just the depth that you go into with it, because it's, I mean, it's you, and that's, it's your life, and those are your trials and your tribulations. So, and I feel that's what also makes it uh very unique. And I will say I'm not exposed to a whole lot of too many AI content creators. I guess maybe I am and I'm not. Maybe I'm being like ignorant about that. But I guess from the direction of just how far you've taken it, um, just in a sense of, I guess we know we don't really compare anyway, but I've just haven't seen anybody do it. So, but just how you've just been able to be you the entire time with it, and how authentic you are with your music. And that's just, I feel like that's just unlike the AI that I've seen, that I've been exposed to, and not to say it in a bad way, but
But
yeah, it's just
again, man, I don't think it's like you said. Maybe you're just being ignorant or whatever you said. I don't know if that was
yeah, it was
verbatim,
that. Yeah, maybe I'm
but
just being ignorant. Yeah,
um,
just
yeah,
throwing
but
out.
the difference between me and other people is I don't hide behind it. I've embraced it from day one and told you this is all AI. This is an AI experimental project. There is no hiding behind anything. It is straight confrontation of me on my feelings, and that's why I separate from everybody else and why it feels so real.
Yeah. Well, Deathlord, where can people check out your music?
Everywhere. I'm on Spotify. I'm on as just Deathlord. You can probably type in
Okay.
just Deathlord. and it's actually going to be without an A, so it's going to be Dethlord, and that's how it separates from everything else. Literally, just Google DJ Deathlord, and you'll find all of it.
There you
It's
go,
all
man.
there. But my
Awesome.
main
Well, hey,
Right.
presence is on YouTube.
it's
Really
been awesome
appreciate you,
having you,
man.
man. I really, yeah, thank you for taking the time. And it's an important thing for us to all learn about. It's going to be a big part of everyone's life, and so you're an early adopter. You're on the cutting edge, and we
Yeah,
really
yep.
appreciate it.
It's either, learn to use it before you need it or get left in the dust.
You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. Looking for change, looking for pain. Pulling a mob, pushing a train. I'll never stop, stick to a lane. Pick up the pieces and go rearrange. I'll be the best above all the rest, put me to the test and expect nothing less, your check is I'm chess, what's happening next, yeah. He got the venom, a tangible weapon, no coming in second. This life is a lesson, he got a new engine from pain, it's a blessing. New focus, no guessing, just bold and obsession. All in his possession, you got their attention. I'll leave an impression and take your redemption. Just kill no discretion, your mind is a weapon. 11-11, it's time for progression, You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. People like sheep move feet, hurt it easy. You don't wanna be fast asleep when they scheming. Better stand tall, ready for a fight, believe me. When they try the chains, you can say no, free me. So he's been looking for somebody who could save him, instead of searching inside for what they gave him. A strong will, strong mind causes mayhem. We could change the world, change times, rearrange them. Staying on pace, running the race. Life is a chase, I don't want a place, I wanna be first. Work till it hurts, dehydrated thirst till I'm in a hearse. High ambitions and the right mind can take you so far. It's like you lived a few lifetimes. Take off, I'ma break off from the weak minds. They can stay soft, you can change lives, you create thoughts. Never waste time, you got one shot, you got one life. Better pop off, what do you like? Make a dream job, no 9-5, no mean boss. Just my life and free thoughts. You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. People like sheep move feet, hurt it easy. You don't wanna be fast asleep when they scheming. Better stand tall, ready for a fight, believe me. When they try the chains, you can say no, free me.